You're listening to the Mobcast Network.
Welcome to the Cult Movie Cantina.
Woo!
This is the podcast that takes a look at some of your favorite cult films, introduces an alcoholic beverage,
That's technically me today.
and shows them to someone who's not seen them.
Also, no, actually, this is the one I've seen before, but it's been a while.
Really?
Yes, because I had actually seen some of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I did not recognize the first one, but I have seen this one. I know, right?
Well, that's cool.
I especially remember the part where the kid's like, oh, he's being a marionette.
Okay, so we're not on video today,
I know.
so she's holding her arms out and pretending like she's a marionette.
Yeah.
So
That part.
that
I
part.
definitely remember that part. And I'm going to stop because I'm just giving away the movie at this point. Put on the TV. I remember that part too.
I'm your Native American pop culture spirit guide, Scotty, and I'm joined by
Justina, your Jellicle Jester.
she who knows no movies.
Oh, that's so sad for you this time. I'm also an admiral. I don't know why I picked up your thing. That's not me.
I don't know why you make a fun thing either.
I'm off today, guys. I'm off.
We have a special guest.
Oh, we sure do.
And so, before we introduce our special guest, our facilitator of fun is currently in Texas
Camping.
camping. Yeah, she
Pretty
is
much.
Ren faring with pirates and Vikings, and she is very happy.
Yeah, she's living her best life right now.
So
with
she
her
is
son and
not going to be joining us for this episode, which is fine. She's having a good time. However, we have a wonderful, wonderful replacement.
I'm John. I got the prop shop next door, and I will be filling in as the facilitator of fun and lady of liberations.
Liberations. Gonna have to update that title.
I added an R. I can do that.
Yeah, John's a very, very talented prop guy, and
Very talented.
he is right next door to our offices here at Gamers and Geeks, and he has the 1 foot in the grave prop shop, and he makes he's got like 25 3D printers, and he's just constantly making cool stuff.
And seriously, there's something in there right now.
They don't stop.
They don't.
It's crazy.
You're very talented.
Very so thank you for coming in. John and me are old friends. Justine too, and we're all friends.
I feel like I'm the younger of the old friends, but it's fine.
Yeah,
but
all movie buffs.
you're all, and John is a huge horror film fan.
Huge. This is one of my favorites.
And so when we were decided to do the Nightmare on Elm Street for Halloween, we definitely had to have John. Especially, I think what's great about this one is that it is so special effects and practical effects heavy compared to the rest of them.
True.
This one falls in line to the favorites. I think, like if you ask a Nightmare on Elm Street fan what's their favorite, they'll say 3. Oh, by the way, we're doing Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. How about that?
Yeah.
We're doing another one?
No, this is the one we're doing.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And so we're doing we're talking about Dream Warriors today. Let's listen to the trailer now.
It's 1987. Do you know where Freddy is? There's no waking up from this nightmare. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3, Dream Warriors.
Starts Friday, February 27th at a theater near you. Consult local listing.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors came out in 1987. It was directed by Chuck Russell. Chuck Russell has also directed The Blob, which we have done on the show before.
It's a lava lamp.
No, The Blob is not the lava lamp show.
The lava lamp was Prince of Darkness,
Yes.
wasn't it? I know so much about that movie that I never watched, and it's so frustrating.
It was on when you walked in the door.
That's what was on?
Yeah,
Here?
that's what I was watching.
And you know so much about what was on.
I wasn't even looking at the TV.
I don't think you noticed. I don't think you saw the lava lamp in any scenes. We're toward the end of the movie, so. We have new TV here at the office, and so I was christening it with the Prince of Darkness as I want to do.
So now you guys all know what our office is christened with. So if something happens very darkness and lava like, you know why.
See, what I need to do is get you to make me a prop lava lamp.
I could do it.
Yeah, I know you can. That's what I
Oh,
want.
God.
I just really like that he's stuck with the term lava lamp because he knows that's what it is.
It's called level up since like we first saw the movie, like back in the early '90s. It's it's exactly what it is. Nightmare on Street 3 was written by Chuck Russell, Bruce Wagner, Wes Craven, and Frank Darabont. Wes Craven, of course, did the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Do you know Frank Darabont?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
Frank Darabont went on to be a prolific writer and director, Oscar nominated. He did The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile.
Interesting.
He's helped create The Walking Dead. He helped bring it to television. So, big dude. Movie stars Heather Langenkamp as Nancy. She returns. Yay!
She walked in, I was like, Nancy's back. Nancy's back.
Craig Wasson as Neil, or as I call him, the dude trying to get into Nancy's pants.
He is.
It's like real hard.
Real hard.
But
But look where he works. Like, how many really attractive people show up?
That's true. Patricia Arquette in her very first movie role as Kristen. Robert Englund returning as Freddy Krueger. This is the first movie where they called him Freddy Krueger. The other ones, he was known as Fred Krueger, so they all become friendly with him now. So it's like, this is the third time around. We're just going to call you Freddy. We're going to nickname you, buddy. Ken Sargos as Kincaid, Rodney Eastman as Joey, Jennifer Rubin as Taryn, Bradley Gregg as Philip, Ian Hayden as Will, or the Wizard Master. I like D&D, that's still lame.
He was so cool, though.
Lawrence Fishburne, or Morpheus. As Max, Penelope Sundro as Jennifer, John Saxon returning as Nancy's dad, Lieutenant Thomas, Priscilla Pointer as Dr. Sims, and Nan Martin as the nun. Do we have a theme song?
I guess I don't have music stuck in my head. It's like, here I am waiting. That's all the words I know to that. Da, da, da. I don't know why that came up, but it stuck in my head, so I shared it with everybody.
So I want to do something a little different for the sermon. I just want to kind of get into it and talk about it.
Cool.
Instead of just doing a summary, because this movie is so interesting, I think. And actually, what did you think about it?
Me? Okay.
I know me and John love it, so.
So this is one I have seen before, at least I remember, but I have seen a collection of them. So I liked that it seemed more action-based instead of just being horror film. Like, it hit a point where they were being proactive and they were going and doing something. I thought that was fun. I like that it brought back Nancy, so you have that character. And I also like that they all kind of work together. Like, it's not just picking off people. I mean, it is, but they're connected. So then they try to band together. I thought that was really neat the way they did that, and the way that you could see each one of their things that they're interested in, and then he used those things against them in the film. I thought that was interesting too, because before, I don't know, like in the other one at least, I'm not going to say he doesn't like use their fears, but this seemed very much in line with, like, similar to the first one where she was running up the stairs and you get stuck. Like, you have those nightmares where it's like your feet don't move. And in this one, it just feels like the things that they liked, he used against them, but also incorporated that, like, your feet don't move, or like you showed up at class with no clothes on. Those kind of normal nightmares, and then also added theirs to it as well.
That's cool. John, what do you think about this film?
I loved it because how practically effect heavy it was.
Yeah.
Like, and it's got some of the more iconic bits. Like, anytime they do a thing about Freddy, they'll show a lot of the stuff from this movie.
That's true.
So, like, the worm, of course. I don't want to go into it too depth, I guess. But, like, my favorite thing, I'm a big full moon guy, and the puppet and the guy who makes the puppets in this one was outstanding. I like the Freddy puppet. So, like I said, all the ways they use the effects as well, and this one was really good.
I really like the opening of this movie. I think I like the opening of this film than I like in the opening in the rest of the movies.
I don't remember what the opening was.
So the opening is Kristen. So we're introduced to a new nightmare, a new Elm Street kid, and she's making this popsicle.
Paper mache
popsicle of Nancy's house,
and like eating the spoonfuls of coffee and drinking it with soda
to keep herself awake.
Are you
And
supposed to do it?
And then her mom comes in and tells her to go to bed. And
I have a visitor. You need to go to sleep.
Also,
we want to be loud.
Also, because I'm older now, 1 o'clock doesn't seem that late to me. It's past 1. And I'm like,
but as a mother, but then again, at the same time, like the kid was there by herself, and like her mom's like, I'm home and you're still awake. And it's like, you weren't worried about her when you left her home alone until 1 o'clock in the morning, mother. Oh.
It's true. And then she's like, there's a dude back. I just need to get
do you have a guest? Go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Shut up.
I need to get naked time, so go to bed.
God.
But it goes into, she goes to bed and she goes, I think it's my favorite nightmare in the movie. It's not my favorite. There's no kill in this one because she spoiler alert, Kristen survives this film. But I think the nightmare is great. So it starts out, she's outside the creepy house, and there's a little girl on a tricycle, and the little girl's like, hi. And then she goes into the creepy house, and Kristen's like, don't do that. And then she goes, I'm going to follow you.
So, okay, that spot, that came up. Derby wife and I were watching it, and she was like, no, little girl, don't go in there. And the girl runs in there, and then she's like, no, little girl, and then runs after her. But she actively is already having nightmares. We've already established that this character is forcing herself to stay awake. We're already at the end of the first film. Like, she's already learned that she needs to stay awake. She gonna go chase this kid into this house that she's making a paper mache out of? No. I need you to know I would be the one that's like, no, little kid, don't go in there. All right, I'll wait right here. Seriously, like, I'll wait for you. Scream if you need me.
But going after her makes Kristen a good character.
It does.
I mean, she's got to go after the little girl.
Would you?
Yeah, I would.
Would you?
And not only that, in dreams, a lot of time you forget who you are, per se.
Yeah, there's that.
And like, she could just be following instinct at that point.
And
that's fair.
I think when she goes in and finds her in the boiler room, and the little girl, it's heartbreaking.
A boiler room, by the way, in a house.
It's the most heartbreaking line I've ever heard in these movies. Is she just looks and goes, "This is where he takes us," and I'm just like, "Oh, heartbreak! Oh no, we gotta get this baby out of here."
So I didn't see the second one. Is this the first time you see a kid in the house?
Yes.
Okay, so we also talked about the term Freddy already a second ago, and she brings that up. And that's the first time his name is mentioned, is she says Freddy's home. Do you think that changed too because the kids are saying it? Like, it's more of a, he's like, hey, I'm Freddy.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean that makes sense.
Because that, like, she establishes that from the beginning, that Freddy's home.
And after we get through the discussion of 3, I'll briefly kind of touch on 2. Just the reason why we did 1 and 3 is because they're connected. 2 is kind of a throwaway.
Yeah, I could follow it between the 2.
Right. I mean, because it's directly connected. So I thought that would be more fun than introducing you to Jesse and his problems.
Thank you. I don't need no Jesse problems.
But then she hears Freddy's claw, and so she picks up the little girl and runs through this never-ending house. And she runs and she gets like how
stuck in the hallway.
Stuck in the hallway, like Nancy got stuck in the on the stairs in the first one. And then she Freddy comes after her, almost swipes her, but she's lucky enough to jump jump free. And then she runs into a room with all these kids that are strangled, that they're hung.
Oh my gosh.
And then the little girl says, just let me down, you're hurting me. And she looks down and it's a skeleton. Scared the hell out of me as a child. I look at it now and I was looking at it now going, okay, I can tell it's plastic. It's like, I also can tell now when she picks up the little girl and in the next scene the little girl's a doll. I mean, the
filmmaker in you is like, well done. Yeah, I would have also used a doll.
No, I probably would have used a child.
You probably would have. Who has the smallest child that we know? Yeah, can we borrow them?
Can we borrow that kid? I have a note about so the skeleton with the tuft of hair to make the little girl was a replacement. Originally, they had made a full emaciated looking husk girl.
It was too heavy, wasn't it?
No, it was too horrifying, and they were like, we can't put this on film.
That's upsetting.
So this prop guy worked very hard on making this, And what they told him was like, what are you thinking? They're like, we're thinking like concentration camp. And so he made like a concentration camp victim. And it's,
oh my gosh.
And it's just like, I mean, there's pictures online, and it's just like, it's horrifying. And then the producer was like, no, we can't do that. We can't do that.
How would you feel, John, if you spent all that time and effort, you made something amazing, and then they're like, it's too scary?
I would use it in something else.
You would too. You'd be like, I'll make my own scary movie.
That's right.
Also, you got paid regardless. I mean, you're paid to make.
True.
You're paid to make the thing. So. Kristen wakes up. Her mom finds her in the bathroom, and she's got a razor, and she's trying to commit suicide, allegedly.
And it's interesting that I don't remember again from the first one, or if it comes up in the second one, but in this one, he's specifically making it look like they're committing suicide.
Yeah,
like, I don't know if he did that the first time, or if he was just killing them.
He did it once with the kid who was in the jail.
Oh yeah, with the hanging.
He hung.
The rest of them, it's like he just destroyed them.
Right.
But this time, it's like each one of them, he's finding ways that they committed suicide.
And I think he wants to get them together in this one.
All of the kids,
place.
knock them all out.
Right.
Like, he's tired. He's like, how many times are you guys going to reproduce? Seriously, right now.
So then we're introduced to Dr. Neil Gordon. He's a psychiatrist in charge of a bunch of kids who are in the West Hills Psychiatric Hospital. We meet, we meet Kincaid, who's the big tough black guy. He's being sedated in the quiet room when we first see him. We see Taryn, who is an she's a former drug addict. We've got Jennifer, who is supposed to be 14 in this movie, and she doesn't look it. She burns herself to stay awake. That's what she uses, cigarettes to burn herself to stay awake.
Yeah, the one that wants to be a movie star.
Yeah, she wants to be a movie star. Then we meet. I think we see Joey too, and Joey's one who doesn't talk.
Right.
Did we already talk about the guy in the wheelchair? Did we meet him?
We haven't met him yet, but we can talk. The other ones we have, there's Will. He's in a wheelchair, and he really likes Dungeons and Dragons. We've got, who am I missing?
Did you do the?
Oh yeah, Philip, the puppet guy, the guy who makes marionettes.
Which one's the badass girl?
That's Taryn, the drug addict.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
And so, so you've got this mixed mash of kids who are they all have sleep disorders, and that's why they're together. And so, the psychiatrist is trying to like, hey, look, there's something going on here. His doctor that he's working with is like, yeah, they're just over sex and love rock and roll and drugs, and we need to get them off that, and because she's old.
Their dreams are just a reflection of all the bad things that they do in life, Scotty. Okay,
it's all the guilt. It's all their guilt. Kristen's mom places her into the hospital. She freaks out. She's
just trying to get attention too.
And they're trying to sedate her, and she just loses her mind and beats up a bunch of people. And here's a question: there's a scalpel in this room. Why is there a scalpel in this room?
They also smoke in this hospital, so I feel like we could just
everywhere in the 80s.
Sum this up to
everywhere.
Different times.
So she gets a hold of a scalpel, and she cuts Lawrence Fishburne's character Max, who's he's an orderly.
Morpheus.
And so she cuts him, and then she starts doing the tail end of the Freddy nursery rhyme. And then Nancy shows up, and she finishes it and calms her down, and they hug. Turns out Nancy's a grad student now, so she's in her I guess we're working on her thesis about dreams, which I think is cool. She had this traumatic experience that happened to her, and now she's like, we're gonna scientifically deal with it.
There's no way to force yourself to stay awake like going into school, so she also did well with that. Like, no, we're gonna go straight into a bachelor's and then roll that right into a graduate school, because it's been 6 years.
Right.
That's like, she immediately enrolled and has not quit. She just keep going, because she's like, I'm gonna only sleep 2 hours a day anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
No time for dreams.
What else is she gonna do?
I also like how she like really delves into dream cultures. She has the Malaysian dream doll, and she's
like she's really like taking that to heart.
I mean, and she's the one who she's one of, I guess, 2 heroines in the series that literally defeated Freddy. I mean, you've got, Nancy defeats him in the first one.
Right.
I think.
I do find it surprising. I did bring that up while we were watching it. How Nancy does defeat him at the end of the first one because she turns her back to him and says that he doesn't have a thing on her, and then obviously he shows up again. So there's that confusion, like, oh, did she really defeat him, or was he just playing, or whatever? Because she gets in the car.
Well, I think I think because of 2, he comes back. And he's more powerful. That's why they don't immediately go, well, I can just turn her back on her and it'd be fine.
Okay, because then in this one, it's like, why doesn't she do that?
I think she mentions that he's stronger.
Okay.
And so, I mean, the first time she sees him, Kristen's having her second dream where, this snake version of Freddy is trying to eat her. And she learns that, well, we all learn that she has a power to pull people into your dreams.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And to jump way ahead to kind of make that make sense, Jason versus Freddy, they explained that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
How he gains, his power and stuff, just for if he was interested.
The soul of children.
Well, this is the first movie that shows the souls of children, and that's a big thing for the rest of them. Especially there's you see that when he opens his, at the end when he opens his chest piece, and opens his chest, and then you see all those kids. In 4, they built a giant Freddy chest and had actresses and actors kind of push through this latex and stuff, so to see the effect of his, the.
Oh wow!
Yeah, everyone likes 3. I like 3 too. Don't get me wrong. 4 is my favorite because it's 3, but like more balls to the wall crazy.
Okay.
So I like Alice over Kristen.
Is that the next one?
Yeah, Alice's power is that she is able to get other people's powers. So when other people die, she gets their powers.
Okay.
And so she becomes like the Voltron of whatever.
Or Vulture.
It just whoops up on Freddy at the end. It's pretty cool. And then they ruined it with 5. 5 is terrible. 6 isn't good either, but it was in 3D, so you get that. You get a little bit of that. Yeah, so Kristen, pulls Nancy into her dreams, and that's the first time Freddy sees her. And recognizes her, and then it's the whole big, oh my God, you.
Hey, Freddy.
And then we find out that Kristen's been prowling in people's dreams since she was a kid and kind of forgot how to do it. And then they're like, this is how we're going to save everybody in group, because Nancy realizes everyone's having the same dream. Freddy's coming after all these kids because these are all Elm Street kids. Mm-hmm. Elm Street must be a very, very long street.
Or people just keep reproducing. I mean, goddamn.
Well, I mean, the theory in the first one was like, the Elm Street kids are the second set of children all the parents had. After the first ones were all murdered, right. They had new kids. Replacement children, if you will. Which is a terrible thing to say, but I think that's what happened. It's like, well, we'll just have another baby since Bobby was murdered by that bad man.
We set him on fire, though, so it's fine. We'll stay here because we killed all the psychopaths from this road. No, I'd be out.
No, John, back me up on this. If there's a psychopath you killed on your road, I'd say that. I'd be kind of... Yeah. I'd wear that as a badge of honor. That's right. Elm Street, psychopath-free since 1981.
So, with you two knowing more about this series, okay, if people that lived on Elm Street that set him on fire moved and had kids, would they still be haunted because they're still considered Elm Street kids, or would they have to have been on Elm Street still?
6 dives into that. 6 has a little bit of that into it. So
because I feel like at some point you have to like branch out to have so many movies.
Well, I think the idea was, especially I think 6 really talks about this, is that every town has an Elm Street.
What a wonderful loophole. Does Mobile have an Elm Street?
Yeah, there's Elm Street Mobile.
I guess it does because there's a tree.
Yeah.
So Foley would have one too, because Foley has a whole tree section.
Do you know what the most common street name is?
White?
No.
Maine?
First.
Yes. First. Maine's up there, though. Maine's up there.
Airport?
Well, if your town has an airport.
Like, where's your airport? We're on Airport Street. No, we just wanted to seem like we had an airport here.
We have deaths in this. The first one is being Philip, the kid who makes marionettes.
I hate that his was first because he seemed so laid back and cool. He was just making those marionettes, and then like they got him.
Right, and so Freddy, transforms into one of the marionettes, and then turns that poor boy into a marionette
with his tendons.
With his tendons, which
I
was
thought that was really fun the way they did that, where they had him like become the marionette, and then they used the clay. Was it claymation? Is that what that's called? Stop motion.
Some of it was stop motion.
It was all stop motion. So what they did was they they photographed it in reverse. So they started with the blank and then turned it into a Freddy face, and then they just filmed it each day. They'd made alterations.
Okay.
And so when they were done with alterations, they would film it, and then they run it in reverse, so it looks like it would turn into Freddy.
That's cool. So that was neat the way they did that, and then had him like cut his strings with his little claw hands.
Yeah,
My claw
like
hands.
More of the practical side of things that I really like. That I'm glad some movies are getting back into.
Yeah.
They're doing practical mixed with 3D.
I think those kind of effects are honestly some of the best ones you have. Is when they actually have to find a way to make it work instead of just going, oh, we'll just use a computer.
Well, that's why I like That's why I like Planet Terror from Grindhouse so much.
Yeah.
Is because it's all practical effects with CGI cleanup. And that's how it should be done. So you do the effect, and then you take all the stuff that doesn't look right, and you make it look right with the computer, so it all works out.
Yeah.
And because too much CGI, you can just tell.
Yeah.
And too much
not as
practical,
good.
you can just tell. And so
That's what I really liked
they'll do
about
that
the
with-
paranormal activities too.
With blood splatter a lot. They'll
Yeah.
do some real, practical effect, and then they'll do cleanup, like you were saying, with
Like add depth to it,
yeah,
or
with CG,
yeah.
where there should be blood on the wall and there's not, because when you do practical effects, anything can happen.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Or not happen.
Philip's disorder is that he's a sleepwalker. So the Freddy makes him do the marionette walk, and everyone just thinks he's sleepwalking, and he ends up on the ledge of the top of the building, and he jumps.
of the
Bell tower,
ward
I
that's
think.
never used. You find out later from the nun.
Right.
I think it was the bell tower.
The bell
because
tower.
It used to be a church.
Yeah, bell tower. I have a question. This is where this movie gets supernatural, maybe, because in that scene he vanishes. He phases through the door. He phases through the door, the locked door, and so.
That bothered me.
I'm not sure how that happened, so I don't, and there's no explanation about the magic side of it, and if there is magic, and so is it part of the dream, or did it really happen, and is this how we perceive it? He actually walked through. I wish the door would have been unlocked, or
Or the puppet did it.
or something to make it make more sense.
Yeah, that bothered me when he walked through the door, because the whole thing, every time you see them in the dream, like it happens real life, like if they burn themselves on a boiler or something like that, right? So like you see in the dream where he's bloody, I feel like there also should have been blood, because it happens to them in real life, unless that was all just interpretation too, where it's like he thought he was bloody, but he wasn't really a marionette, so he really was just a person walking.
Right.
But so, like when she's burnt or cut or something, that's what wakes them up. And
So it must have been like imaginative, because he would have woke up to that too.
Right.
But him walking through the door too, I agree. It should have just been like a push door, because the nurse was right there.
Right.
So if it's an area that isn't locked necessarily,
Or easy as just a little cut scene of the lock going from lock to unlock, because Freddy did it with his
whatever.
nightmare power.
I'd believe that more than the phasing.
Right.
And also, since we didn't see his body afterwards, I mean, after he fell, he could have had the marks on his arms and legs and stuff. We just
True.
never get to see that. So, I mean, that could have worked in that. The other death is afterwards is Jennifer, the young lady who wants to be a star, and I think this is everyone's favorite
so
kill.
good.
It's everyone's favorite kill. Like when they start to listen, like your favorite kills, this one's always number one.
that one bothered me a lot. Like it bothered me a lot that happened, and then it was like, all of our patients are committing suicide. Can one of you bastards tell me how that child got herself up in that TV like that?
That's my only problem with it. It doesn't make any sense how she.
Like, there's no, like, he should have had her push a chair over.
There's no stool, no nothing.
Nothing. There's no way she can't force her. She would have just bonked her head and fell.
Also, those old CRT TVs, especially in the 80s, were very thick. So it's very. I mean, it's hard to. I mean,
my God.
I don't think you could crush your head into it.
But it never came up as a question. Like, the nurse was like, no, something needs to happen, and the therapist or whatever his face was that was trying to get in her pants was just like, well, they're all killing themselves, so we need to do something to change it.
Now I busted my
How?
head on one.
How?
And the screen not shattered. I'm just saying, I gotta break
yeah.
my head.
Yeah, if John can do that one bothered me,
Right.
because there was no explanation for how she got up there, but then nobody addressed it. Nobody, not even Nancy, nobody even brought up that it wasn't physically possible for that to happen.
Right. They just
It
let
was
it.
just, oh, another one died. Oh no.
But on the flip side, the dream part of it was awesome.
No, yeah, the whole, like, the effect of it was really cool, the way he did it.
Right.
And the fact that he was, like, literally shoving her through a TV, because it's, again, her thing. She was going to be famous.
Right.
That was great.
I just love the line, "Welcome to primetime, bitch."
Yeah.
Into the TV. Ad-libbed. He came up with that on his own.
I believe it.
And this is what the suicides are kind of what lead Dr. Neil to prescribe this new drug called Hypnosil, which is real big in the series. There's like 2 or 3 movies that follow Hypnosil.
Because you don't dream.
Right, and Nancy takes it to prevent her night terrors.
That's smart.
So, which I have a question about it. So, if she's taking Hypnosil, right, to prevent dreaming, is she being prevented, like proactive, like I don't want to dream because I've had this experience, or has she been having experiences? I
think she's being proactive because even if like she becomes determined to figure it out, like if that was me, if what happened to Nancy happened to me in the beginning, the very first one, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get to the bottom of dream sequences and how they work and what I can do to fight this, I would take whatever I can to keep him from me until I was prepared for battle. Like I would be preventative so that I could, the first time I saw him, it wasn't while I was trying to learn or anything like that.
So it makes me wonder, though, because, at the end of Elm Street 1, there is the dream where, everything's okay. Your mom's alive, but they get in Freddy's car, the Freddy car, and, it turns, we don't know how it turns out. It turns out.
Obviously a Freddy car. It was like red and green. It was so clearly a Freddy car.
But she clearly defeated him in 1. So.
But then her mom died. She saw him, like, next to her mom, and her mom died.
Right.
So I really think that if that happened, I would become really hardcore proactive like she was, and I would like shut that shit down.
I think she's traumatized. I think it's
for sure.
I think this is a PTSD thing. I think she just
she can't talk to anybody.
Right, because no one's going to believe her that she's, I've fought a demon.
Discredited.
Right.
Everything that she's done.
You're just not coping well.
Exactly.
Oh, honey.
Exactly. So I just thought it was interesting. The Hypnosil is a fictional drug, though, that prevents dreaming, and it's highly experimental, so they give it to a bunch of teenagers to help suppress their dreams. By the way, it doesn't do that.
I know. I like that he prescribes it, and then they just are like, let's do a whole dream sequence all together and work together to defeat him. And it's like, but how are they dreaming? You gave him drugs.
Right. So I don't know if they got the drugs or... I think they did, because that's when Joey goes into a coma. I think that's what they blame it on.
Right.
Him prescribing Hypnosil.
Oh, yeah, because he is.
And so I guess it doesn't work on them. I'm not sure. Also, so there's they have a group session where everyone's going to go to sleep, and Chris is going to bring them into the dream.
Oh, that's how they do it. She brings them into the dream.
Right. I guess, but so here's my question.
Because Nancy did it at the beginning, and she was on it.
Right. But Nancy was dreaming, and Nancy was asleep when it happened. Mm-hmm. So here's my question. If you go back and watch that scene, they do group hypnosis with a pendulum, right? They have this pendulum go back and forth over this light. It's a very cool effect. I really like it. Everyone is watching it except Neil, the doctor, who's watching them.
I know, and he's also in the dream.
He's also in the dream. He's awake the whole time, and I'm like...
I will say, like, when he turns to stop it, he's looking at it, like... Maybe in that moment.
Yeah, I mean,
he looked at it for a second. Like, he turns and he's like, it's not.
We learned then that everyone has a dream power. Kristen, not outside of just being able to bring people in dreams, she's very, very gymnastic. She's very, very gymnastic.
I like how you keep saying it like that. That's a fun way to say it.
I don't know what to call it. I don't know if that's really a power or what, but
she's a super gymnast.
So...
I'm just like, she's very, very gymnastic. It's like dramatic, but different.
Right. Taryn is beautiful and bad.
Yeah, she is.
Totally 80s.
Which is probably the worst line in the show. Poor her.
Oh my gosh. Magical wizard.
Oh yeah, Will is the kid in the wheelchair who can walk and is also the wizard master.
Yeah, he is.
So he can cast magic. Spoiler alert, does not work.
On Freddy at all.
Kincaid is super strong. He can apparently just bend chairs, and I think that Joey's missing. He goes off and sees a nurse that he's been hitting on all movie. Who
he's about to go get him some.
It turns to be Freddy, and a nurse is disguised and captures him and puts him in a coma. Nancy and Neil do not get dream powers. I like Nancy should have got a dream power, right?
That's the next generation of kids, Scotty.
So you start where you get
Skipped a generation.
you skip
Yeah.
generation.
It's this film that they get powers. I would have been so upset if I was Nancy and be like, I've already had to battle this bastard. It's not fair that you guys get the powers.
It's like, why did I couldn't be an X-Man?
What do you get to do, Neil? Exactly. Maybe it's because they're adults.
Neil's like, I get to smack on you, baby. What's up, girl?
Okay.
Come drink with me, honey. His power is just trying to get in her pants. It's just
He's not doing very well with it.
so things go awry. Freddy kind of shows up. Joey's in a coma, and because of Nancy and Neil has been prescribed Hypnocil, they get fired. And Kristen freaks out, and they put her in the quiet room, put her to sleep, and Freddy's going to come get her. I'm sorry, I forgot about the nun. Should we talk about the nun?
Absolutely.
Yes.
She's
Yes, we should.
an important part.
Is she?
She's a confusing important part.
So at it's Jennifer's funerals when he sees the nun for the first time, right?
Just him.
Just him. So Neil sees this nun, who's Sister Mary Helen.
It's a good name.
Yeah,
for a nun.
it's a very nunny name.
My stage name.
Very nutty name.
And so, she asks him what he believes in. He says he believes in science, and she's like, "That's not a good thing to believe in, but okay." And then she
Did you
vanishes.
meet Freddy? Because
And then she vanishes. And when Nancy shows up,
literally vanishes.
and when Nancy shows up looking like 80s Fly, I mean, she is like,
She looked good.
she looked good. I was kind of into it.
Derby wife and I talked about how she looked good at the funeral. When she showed up in her hair and that hat, we were both like, Nancy,
Yo, Nancy.
Nancy,
Like that awkward neck.
Oh yeah, girl.
get a girl.
And then after Neil is fired, he sees the nun again. Oh, by the way, I guess they let him work his rest of his shift and then get his stuff and leave because he's like, at the end of the day, he's like,
We're shorthanded. We're gonna need you to finish
That's
the year.
also not something that happens anymore, especially in a hospital.
no.
Finish your notes. Finish your notes.
In the hospital, they're like, security's going to come to escort you to your desk and then to get your things and then to the parking lot. You got 10 minutes.
Don't you dare look at those files.
And so the nun shows back up and takes him to the
Yes, it does.
the ward that hadn't been used in so many years and tells him the story of like, oh yeah, there's a staff worker back in like the 40s, and over the holiday weekend they forgot she was here, and all the lunatics all had their way with her.
Yep.
And hit her and was like, and then she bore a child, and
He's
that
literally the bastard of what was it, like 400,
a thousand maniacs.
1,000 maniacs, yeah. So I do want to point out in that fun little story, so she got locked in, right? Who fed the 1,000 maniacs while they were in there over Christmas break?
No. She said that they kept her hidden.
Yeah, the maniacs, they all hit her.
They all hit her. So I mean, you got 1,000
Okay.
maniacs up in there. Like we got a little play
I
toy. We
understand.
can hide our play toy.
My interpretation was like it was Christmas break and they just shut the building down and she was just stuck in the building with them. I was
First
like,
time I
but
wa-
who would have fed them anyway?
First time I watched it, I went with you. The first few times I'd watch, it's like, oh, I guess they just like if you're crazy and there's a holiday, you just don't eat.
Like,
They
you
just
need to
stack
eat a
it
lot
all
of
up
this
in the middle of
meal.
the room.
Y'all be good, doesn't me.
Here's your loaf of bread.
Ration this out.
We'll be back.
Suddenly becomes like Escape from New York. It's all broken up into groups. Or Thunderdome. Who run Bartertown?
Can you imagine having to come back and clean up after that?
No. It was so bad that she had a baby and became a nun. I think in 5, when they kind of start talking about, I think she's already a nun.
Right.
But I don't know. In this one, they were like, a girl on staff. And mainly, I guess, because for the reveal, I guess, at the end. I don't know. But she kind of tells Neil how to deal with Freddy. You know, he's got to be buried on that, hollowed ground, and which they don't really do.
Yeah.
So probably why he gets to come back in 4. Nancy works her way to Kristen and the others, thanks to Max.
Thanks, Max.
Neil and goes with Nancy's dad, who they found earlier, because he knows where Freddy's body's at.
Of course she does.
It's like we put it in a bag and put it in a junkyard. No one would ever find it.
Let me take you right to it.
And he's like, yeah, exactly. Oh, I know exactly where it is, or I don't. I don't know. He knew exactly where it was.
Would you keep up with that?
Yeah.
John was like, that'd be so cool. I'd take it home.
I would.
Ginger,
But hey, that's Freddy, guys.
So,
Right over there.
but here's the problem with it, right? Isn't the glove in the bag?
The glove was in the bag that she found in her incinerator, and her mom's.
Right.
Her mom kept that part.
Right, but the glove is there.
He must have had a
'cause
backup.
The skeleton has the glove.
But he had a backup, Scotty. I mean, I would also have backups. What if you broke a knife? You got to kill the next day. They're not going to take care of themselves. I ain't got time to wait for you to make another one.
So
Backups on backups.
So we have two stories going on at one time. So we have Neil and Nancy's dad going in to find Freddy's body and bury it, which also involves a small detour to a church where they get some holy water.
Yep.
A fifth of holy water.
A fifth of holy water. And then he goes to steal a crucifix and gets stopped. And then he has no cash on him, which is funny to me. It's the 80s. Why didn't he have cash on him?
He's like, take my watch.
No,
I'll be back.
He's like, take
my ID.
my driver's
Yeah.
license. It's my driver's license. I'm good for it. And then, it's a good scene. I really like that scene. Nancy gets the other kids to kind of dream together. So, and then they all think about Kristen in the quiet room, and they link up with her. And they're like, let's stay together. And then that doesn't happen at all.
It never happens.
And so Freddy starts killing people one by one, starting with Taryn. She shows up in like a dark alley, and Freddy comes to fight her. And she ends up, his fingers become drugs.
Right.
Cyber her needles.
Needles her.
But the best part of the effect is her arms, the track marks on her arms, her like little
Yeah,
mouths.
they are
And
little
it's kind of gross, but it's like, that's a really cool effect.
They were hungry.
And she gets drugged to death. The original scene was her head was supposed to explode, and the effect didn't turn out right. It's online. It's terrible. It's funny how it works. And they were all like, when it does not happen, they're very disappointed. They're like, oh. Then Freddy torments Will with the wheelchair, and he's like, it's great that you walk, but after when you wake up, it's back in the saddle again.
Right.
And the chair was chasing him.
And it had all these blades and things.
Like a
on it.
bowl, and like he was wearing red.
And all kinds of stuff on him and on the wheelchair. And then Will remembers, I'm the wizard master, and blows up the chair. And then he's like, yeah.
I would forget about my powers too. It's fine.
And then he I don't know, magic missiles Freddy to death, or
Not to death.
force lightning. I don't know what is he doing.
He uses magic, Scotty. It's magic.
He basically used industrialized magics to just tick Freddy off.
Do you know what they did for that? Is that just computer based, or did they do something?
And it was animated.
Okay.
It was animated. It's hard animated, drawn. That's what they did back then. So. And then Freddy just like, I don't believe in fairy tales, and just kills Will.
Such nonsense.
I turned my back to this.
Right, just whoop and kill him. Kristen, Nancy, and Kincaid find each other, and they go look for Joey. Kincaid's other power is that he can walk through walls by like punching the walls.
No, that's the same power. It's just super strong.
He's just going through the wall. I can bend chairs and go through walls, and that's it.
I'm just real cool and strong.
The Neil and Lieutenant Thompson find the bones, and they start digging a grave, and then, well, the bones come alive.
Yeah, Voyage of Sinbad style.
Very much, very Harryhausen, and just it's not bad.
No, it's pretty good.
It's like, what did you think?
Of that part? Oh, I definitely didn't see that part.
You didn't see the animatronic?
No, I missed that part. I'm so sorry.
I might have to run that for you, just so I want your
That was
opinion.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it still holds up a little bit.
I think so too. I think it's not bad.
Very Evil Dead-ish.
Very, very much Evil
Right.
Dead. They fight a stop motion Freddy skeleton.
Yeah, and it's part of that cheesy Freddy. They're like big Freddy fans, but they like the
Right.
cheesy Freddy effects.
But
stuff.
it works.
Yeah.
It works.
So if you had to search that on YouTube, what would you search?
Skeleton Freddy fight. That's what I would type in.
Yeah, we were trying real hard to not fall asleep during this part.
Well, you didn't want to, get nightmares.
Right.
No,
You're not
I was
afraid to
just
get you- tie you up with tongues.
trying
like they
to
did
not fall asleep
Joey.
because I was just exhausted.
And we neglected to mention that scene
Oh, now she's watching it.
I am going to watch it real quick.
where Joey is getting seduced by
Oh.
the nurse,
Right.
aka Freddy,
Right.
and then all the tongues.
Oh, yeah.
And
This is gross.
And this whole time he's been in the coma, the tongues has been like making out with his hands and feet.
Is it stop motion?
Yeah, stop motion.
Yeah. Almost everything was in the 80s.
I like that the dad's like, I'm gonna take you down. Oh, he stabbed. Oh, he's picking him up with his knives. That was oh, I did not know this happened. We should have rewatched this, Derby Wife.
Yep.
Oh, he just. This reminds me of a video game.
This is an audio podcast. What is
It's Freddy, so just imagine what that is.
So it's a bird?
It's a bird.
Yeah, that's what he did though. Like it looks very much like a video game where it's like fight, and it's like like Super Metroid, and they're like I don't like or play Mortal Kombat, so
Get out.
I hate fighting games. They're not fun. I like Super Metroid because it's like a story at the same time. You're not just fighting people.
The rest of the interview, Scotty.
So anyway, that was fun. What was the question? Yes, I've seen that part.
Just what you thought about it.
Ask her
It
what she
looks
thought
like
about it.
it would be it would be a really cool video game. That part would.
Yeah.
To actually fight. It looked like a video game.
My only issue with it is how it ends when Freddy takes this shovel and just kind of comically beats the crap out of it. I mean, it's funny. And it's like I don't know if I would have directed it funny. I would have.
Yeah, it's not scary.
He
the
literally
whole thing is
bonks him on
funny.
the head with a shovel,
Yeah.
and it's like wonk wonk.
Well, it's like when he picks up the dad, he's just like ching ching, and then throws him, and then he stabs, and he's like done. And then he moves to the next one. Like it's very much like a video game.
Right.
The Turtles game I watched Derby Wife play. It looks like that on the regular Nintendo. Yeah, like when she fights things and it's just like through you, pick you up, throw you on a stake.
I'm not with you.
Okay, cool. Watch it, people, and then imagine that you're playing it. Just like hold something like you're fighting like the skeleton, and when you get done, you'll be happy because you won.
Skeleton Freddy wins, kills Lieutenant Saxon, Nancy's dad, and throws Neil into the grave and buries him, sort of.
Round one,
awesome.
fight.
and then does like a victory, like a Chun-Li, like yeah, and then falls into another pile right by the grave. So that's not going to help, hurt him at all. The Nightmare Kids are all together. They find Joey.
Wait, real quick. Do you think in that movie the way that is, because usually it's like one person at a time has an encounter with Freddy, right? Like he focuses on one kid and then he goes to the next one and then goes to the next one. Do you think Freddy embodied the skeleton and that was Freddy fighting them?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like Freddy,
Right.
in the Freddy bones.
Right.
Cool.
Because Freddy does it like he's like harassing the Elm Street kids at the time, and then he's like, "Oh wait, I have to go do something else. I'll be right back."
So he's definitely it did its job and
Yeah.
in two places.
This is the first movie that really makes it like doubles down on supernatural Freddy. I mean, it's like we in the first one we know he lives in the dream realm. In the second one, he kind of comes in the real world, but I think this one really doubles down on like he is now this supernatural entity.
Right.
It also doubles down on him like with catchphrases and stuff. He's more the Freddy we know in this. This one introduces that kind of Freddy.
Welcome to prime time.
Exactly. And so, the kids are in this hallway with all these mirrors, and they get sucked into the mirrors pulled into the mirrors by different Freddys, which is a really good effect. They did that with they did it with Mylar and camera angles to make that look like they're getting pulled in because they had no CGI.
That's cool.
Joey turns out to be like his power is that he can talk, and so he screams and the mirrors break. At the end of the hall is another room, and Lieutenant Thomas shows up and is like, "Hey, Nancy." He's like, "Yeah, all Force Ghosts." He's all like, "Hey, baby, I'm crossing over and just want to like say like I'm sorry for being like a douchebag and
I left the coffee pot on."
Right, that kind of stuff. And then it turns out to be, oh no, it's Freddy, and he stabs her.
Oh no.
And then he's like going to go, kill Kristen because that's he needs to kill Kristen. And
It's like you always got to focus on the prime heroine.
Right.
Heroin? Heroin, yeah. It just sounded like a drug at first.
And Neil gets out of the grave. He pushes the bones in, and then he starts, kind of doing last rites on the bones. He doushes the holy water, which is a cool effect on Freddy. So in the dream world, we see like all this damage and like light busts through, and he's swirling around, freaking out, and Freddy then Neil puts a cross on his head, and then you see that kind of pop out of his head, and it's all this light, and he gets sucked into this light. Unfortunately, Nancy dies.
That's really sad. I like Nancy.
And Kristen ends saying that she's going to dream her into a beautiful dream. And then our next scene is the funeral. And we find the nun there at the funeral, and we find out that it's actually, the nun was Freddy's mom.
Weird.
No one saw that coming.
Didn't see that coming.
Everyone saw that coming.
Everybody.
And then the last scene is Neil sleeping, and there's Nancy's old house, the paper mache house that Kristen had made, and the dream doll, the little Malaysian dream doll she had, and the light comes on.
In the house?
In the house, and it's spooky. So, yay.
I had a thought, and then I forgot it.
Do you want to do our libation?
I do. I had the thought again. I forgot because you brought up the libation. Oh, so I'm really impressed with a couple of things. First, that Neil comes up after getting beat by a shovel and then still knows how to do the rites. That. And then also,
he's focused.
I like that it's him that does it because he says he's science-based, and the nun was like, oh, well, that's not going to help you here.
Yeah, he defeats him with faith.
Yeah, and
which
then he
is
had
great.
to use religion. So I like that happened for that character, that he specifically did it.
Minus, like, I mean, I think he really tries, and I don't know if you'd agree with me or not, but I really think he focuses too much in this movie trying to get it, like, impress Nancy.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't get that the whole time.
I don't think he's generally, I mean, I know he cares about the kids, but when she starts talking about these weird theories and stuff, he's just, okay, I'll listen to you because you're hot. I think I get that vibe off of him instead of like, we're going to be colleagues. He's like, no, I'm going to get in his grad student's pants. So, okay, we'll go see your dad. I'll beat up her dad, and that'll make her impress her. I mean, it just seems like he's just trying to impress her. So, I don't know. But on the flip side, I'm saddened that this is the only time we see this character. He's not in the rest of the films. Spoiler alert.
Where does he go?
They don't talk about him
He's
anymore.
old if he died.
They don't talk about him anymore. And having him come back would have been great because he's that man of science who's become a man of faith. Would have been, like him as a priest fighting Freddy. Would have been epic. Would have been like
he would have came back.
Yeah, like in 5 would have been great in 5. Would have
just like a cameo, just like a pop up.
Just pop him in, just pop him in, like bring him back like you did Nancy. I mean,
like say your name and then be like Neil, whatever his last name is.
I forgot. It's Neil something.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, it's that guy.
Neil something the third.
Look what Freddy did. He changed him from science. All right, so for the drink for this, which I did not bring with me, mainly because my main drinking partner's not here, but it's the Warrior cocktail. Oh no, I have wine because I brought something to drink during the podcast. I'll get to that in a minute. But the drink for the podcast is the Warrior cocktail, which involves 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, 1 ounce of dry vermouth, half an ounce of brandy, half a teaspoon of that terrible licorice liqueur, and then half a teaspoon of orange liqueur. So that's the Warrior cocktail. I don't require that because I'm a warrior already. So I'm drinking the Dreaming Tree wine because I'm just about to get into that dream by myself. But for those of you that need that Warrior punch, there you are. Oh, I could tell you though the way it works. You just put it all together and shake it and pour it. Boom.
I have a lot of apocrypha for this film, more than I thought I was going to have.
Throw it down.
All right, so Winona Ryder, you know who she is?
Winona Ryder's in Stranger Things.
Yep.
She's the mom in that.
She auditioned.
Boom.
She auditioned to be Kristen.
Oh man,
she'd have been great. Patricia Arquette's really good at it too, but I think she'd have been great too.
I like the Kristen that they have, but I guess is she the one that screams really loudly? Did Kristen scream really loudly? Never mind. Winona would have done better. God, so loud.
Just a side note, Ryder would later become engaged to Johnny Depp, who was in the first one.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that was a thing that happened.
Mm-hmm. They met on
oh man,
Edward Scissorhands, I think, and got engaged afterwards.
That's fun.
So in the interviews with the cast and crew on the DVD commentary, it was revealed that the original idea for the film centered around the phenomenon of children traveling to specific locations to commit suicide, with dreams of Freddy Krueger eventually discovered to be a common link between the youths.
Youths.
Yes, youths. That's another joke. At the time, teens suicide was a taboo social issue and led to the abandonment of the storyline, though some aspects remain with the film version, which still depicts the suicide and self-mutilations. This was deemed less controversial because of these acts that were committed with Freddy's distinct influence, inserting enough fantasy into the acts to remove them from what's supposed to the supposed controversial exploitations of disturbed youths. Freddy was supposed to be born at the beginning of this film in a ranch-style house, which was supposed to be a place where the victims would wound up. So I guess they're all going to this house to commit suicide. Also, Nancy and her father were supposed to burn it down, but Freddy's influence on it would not allow that to happen. I would have liked to see that.
I think I kind of would have liked to see that movie happen.
We need a redo.
Oh, just wait, what's coming? If I can make my notes go down. I'm on a new computer, so it's all like... the movie was intended to be the last Nightmare movie, and it was shot that way. While the ending of the film suggests that Freddy may not be dead at all, a scene in the shooting script makes it clear that it's not the case. In the scene, Dr. Gordon visits Kristen a few days earlier. After Freddy's defeat, Kristen reveals that she is moving to New York City, the city that never dreams. The city that never sleeps, excuse me.
It's a good place.
Get my notes. Okay. When Dr. Gordon asks her if she's going to keep seeing her, referring to Nancy in her dreams, Kristen answers that she dreams of her every night, suggesting that Nancy guards her dreams. The scene then cuts to the ending, which plays in the finished script, in which Neil is sleeping and the light turns on the house model. It is implied that Nancy, not Freddy, turned on the light, as she is guarding Gordon's dreams as well.
I like that.
I love it. I love it.
Especially because like her whole thing up until then is studying and understanding dreams. So for her to be in this place where now it's like, it's okay because I'm doing the thing I prepared for.
Right.
Took my drugs with me. It's fine.
So here's something that I have. The script by Wes Craven was darker and contained more graphic language. I have a copy of it.
And?
Kristen had a friend named Becky who was killed by Freddy before the events of the movie, and Nancy meets in a dream before being written out. Also, all the characters were being drawn to the institution from all over the country. Kincaid could fly, Joey had super strength, Taryn could become invisible, Will had another name and was the dream wizard. Kristen pulled people into dreams. Philip had another name and he tried to commit suicide. Freddy uses the memories to torment the kids. Nancy was a patient, Philip, which was interesting. Philip was killed by sleepwalking into traffic, getting hit by an ambulance. Joey creates the nightmare house and gives it to Kristen. Joey is seduced by the girl he's crushed on from high school and then is killed. Philip and Jennifer's ghost tell Nancy where to find Freddy's glove to kill him. Nancy's father was blinded and a patient in a sanatorium. Also, Freddy takes Neil's image, but Nancy sees right through it and turns into the blade, so she's still gutted at the end of it. So instead of seeing Dad, she sees Neil, and the scene plays out the same way. I have a copy of it. I would love to do a live reading of it.
That would be fun.
So I'd love to get some people and we do a live reading of it. It is crazy. I like what they did in the movie, but there's some really good ideas in Craven's original script.
That would be fun to do. Let's do it. I want to be... Oh, who do I want to be? I want to be Nancy, but now she's in a psych hospital. Do I still want to be Nancy? Does she have a lot of lines? Do I want to be Kristen? I don't know.
See, that's an actress going, how many lines do I get? That's right. I would imagine you would get to play multiple characters.
I'll call both Nancy and Kristen.
You can't take both the leads. Stephanie would want some.
Nancy may or may... She can be Freddy. You can be Freddy.
I'm down. I'm ready.
He's like,
so we have John as Freddy, right? So,
Stephanie's gonna be the one that wants to be cool and badass. Okay, let's just be honest right now. I don't really care for that character.
But I don't think she's cool and badass. I don't remember her being cool and badass in the script. Remember, I think she flies in that one.
Oh, do I want to fly? Can I be that one too?
Do you want to be all the characters?
Wizard, Harry. Yes.
You want some trivia?
I would love some trivia.
Do you know when this film takes place?
1987. Oh, no, that's when it was made.
Oh, good for you for knowing the year.
Well, you said it.
All right, once again, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. question?
Yeah! What do you want? Looks like a frying pan and some eggs to me.
Welcome back. I do apologize about those technical difficulties. Our batteries died. And
I blame Freddy.
Just reached into this bowl of candy. What do you want?
So I last asked, do you know what happened? What year this movie takes place?
Oh, goddamn. Oh, I got another one. I got another one.
It's Mardi Gras in here.
Oh my gosh. Anybody else?
No, I'm good. Trying to quit.
Here, just take this one.
2 pieces here.
Oh, you could have caught that. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it was made in 87. The other one was made in 84. Okay, as well as a lot of movies we've seen. Don't even start with me right now. There's a lot. Okay, when did that one take place? Because it's 6 years later. I feel like it's pretty on point with when we are. So, mid 80s.
Give me a year. You first said you had 6 years.
85. No, that would make the other one at 79. Did that happen? I'll say 86.
John, what do you think?
85.
1990. Ann Street takes place in 84.
I won though because I was closer without going over.
The Freddy glove was stolen from the set of this film.
So the other one did take place the year it was made.
Right.
84.
Yeah.
I did well with the math though.
You did. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
The Freddy glove was stolen from the set of this film and found in another movie. Do you know what that other movie was?
Is it one that I would know?
Probably not.
Okay.
John
the
might know
bed
it,
that
though.
eats people.
That's earlier.
Deathbed.
79.
Okay. Well, I was born 89. So what was come? I don't know. Oh gosh. Who directed it?
Sam Raimi.
She asked, knowing nobody. Does that help you, John?
Not really.
Can you name anything that person did? I say
Oh,
person
God,
because I don't know
yes.
if it's a man or a woman.
It's a man.
So what's his most famous film?
It's going to be one of the...
His first one is his famous. Most famous. He's most well known for his first one.
I want to
Which gave Evil Dead.
Right.
But what's the next one?
28 Days Later.
Is Evil Dead.
Zombies.
2.
One of the, yeah.
So yeah, this was found on the set of Evil Dead 2.
Oh, that's awesome.
They were both came out that year. So they were filmed near each other and they stole the prop guy stole it and they moved in. I think they were working on the same movie.
So is it still in the film?
Yeah, you can see it in the background in the Evil Dead 2.
That's amazing.
So we'll talk about Dick Cavett for a second.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So Dick Cavett, did y'all know who Dick Cavett was before this movie?
I still don't know who that is. Which one is that?
So Dick Cavett is the television host on the TV that Jennifer's watching.
Oh, no.
So back in the 70s and into the 80s, Dick Cavett was kind of like a Johnny Carson, or
So he genuinely was like a TV personality?
He's a TV personality. He's a TV host, and he would talk to celebrities, a bunch of famous celebrities all over. So he was super psyched to be in this movie. He really enjoyed being in this movie. One of the things that he got to do was he got to so they were using a set stuff. He got to pick the guest he was interviewing.
Who did he interview?
Is Zsa Zsa Gabor. That's who the lady is, and Zsa Zsa Gabor is famous for just being famous. I mean, she's an actress, but her sisters are there's 2 of them, right? And they were very rich, and anyway. Zsa Zsa was like made a whole career of being like a guest star on like The Love Boat and Fantasy Island and all those kind of things. She
pretty much like a Kardashian,
right? Kind of
they're
like
just famous because they're famous,
right? Because right. Dick Cavett had her on not because he liked her, it's because he hated her and thought she was the most stupidest person he's ever met.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing!
And he thought it would be awesome for Freddy to kill her.
So they were like, all right, so who are you going to have on? They're going to get killed by Freddy. This person, right here, right now. Oh my gosh, put her on there.
He bumped someone else so he could put Zsa Zsa on that episode. He said he would have never had her on the show ever. So
that was like a real recording of his show.
Yeah, they recorded
that he genuinely did so that she could die by Freddy.
Yeah, so he did the whole show, and then they filmed that segment while they were filming the show. So there's an episode where Zsa Zsa's in it, and
did they know that?
No, Zsa Zsa never knew. Sally Kellerman was supposed to be the guest, and Sally Kellerman was originally Hot Lips in the original MASH movie, but
I would have been upset if I was the one that got bumped, but I think if I found out later, I'd be like, all right, cool. Makes sense. Thank you for not killing me. That's pretty hilarious. That's so petty. Such an immortalized pettiness.
I would totally do that.
Who would you pick?
Hold on, I'm going to start a list.
Okay.
I'll email it to you.
Okay.
Wes Craven had nothing to do with the first sequel, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, as he didn't believe Elm Street was capable of spawning a franchise. The second film outgrossed the first one, convinced him otherwise. That's why he came back. You want to talk about Elm Street 2 for a minute?
Yes, please. Come on, Jesse.
So Jesse and his family move into Nancy's house at the beginning of the movie. And so Freddy starts harassing Jesse, and he's literally trying to come through Jesse and use Jesse's body to become
That's really
the next
familiar.
Freddy. Yeah,
I wonder if that's one I've seen.
It's probably it's voted the gayest horror film of all time. There's a lot of S&M, and it's awkward. So this also got the weirdest homoerotic dance scene ever in a horror film, and yeah, it's a movie.
I'm going to see if I recognize any of these images.
Not a good one.
Continue speaking images.
And it kind of stands on its own and it's become a cult film. People love it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't watch it. it's like to me it's like 5. It's like I can take it or leave it.
Right.
That's an interesting take on that, though. Like, because we were talking about earlier about like how you would continue it and how they would be in the films. For him to like have a presence so strong in that house that it doesn't matter that his family wasn't involved in the murder or born there.
I could see that because he's got some kind of, it's like hauntings. He's got some kind of ties to that.
Well, I mean, there's a big party at the end where Freddy's actually physical Freddy and like a real person, and he's killing people. But it's every person he kills becomes another soul for him, and so that's what he's like. The new Elm Street kid's the soul. He's a whole big line about it, and so it's not good. So.
There's a lot of images of this dude with his shirt off.
So for the sexy nurse scene, for when Joey was, being put into a coma, the set was flipped, so Joey was standing up, and so the camera's above him, so it makes him look like he's strapped down. He had to be spread eagle for so long that he actually passed out, because it's the same way people die during crucifixion. So he was basically in a crucifix kind of pose. His chest was going on, was weighting down on his lungs. He couldn't get air, and he passed out.
So wait, hang on. So he was mirrored. So he was standing the whole time?
Yeah, he was standing, and so the camera was above him to make it look like he's laying down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
If only he had a voice.
My last little bit of trivia. John, you'll appreciate this. Kristen comes across a classic nightmare image of a roasted pig on a table, and then it comes to life and growls at her. Instead of spending millions of dollars on a roasted pig, they actually roasted a pig, let it spoil, and prop guys puppeted it from beneath. The poor guy who was actually behind the camera, Roy Wagner, the cinematographer, claims that the pig stench was so overwhelming he could still smell it to this day.
We did that with those intestines.
Oh, gross.
Hey, you know what? A budget's a budget. You got to work around it, okay?
God. It was bad.
That's a smart way to do that, though. Be like, how are we going to make it look like this? You know what? How much can you get a pig for? Do you know somebody who can roast it?
I would have roasted it, but I'm like, let's just put makeup on it. I don't think, because a roasted pig.
We would have ate the pig.
Yeah, we ate afterwards. So let's finish this up with the bar tab.
Okay.
You got this right.
No, I never bring my wallet for this reason. Scotty's always got us.
I got this one.
You already did in the grave.
That's right.
Movie grossed $44.7 million over its run.
Wow.
Did really well.
Moving on up, Elm Street.
Its opening weekend gross was $8.8 million.
Wasn't that what the other one made altogether?
Kinda,
Something like that?
Yeah, pretty much that. And it's
money back then.
Yeah, so its opening weekend, where did it fall in the top 10?
For 87?
Yeah.
2.
John, what do you think?
Not number 1. I'd say 3.
Number 1.
Wow.
Number 1. The other ones are Platoon, which won the Oscar that year, Outrageous Fortune, Mannequin, and Hoosiers.
Mannequin was so good.
I've seen none of those except for the one we watched for this.
Mannequin's good. We got to do Mannequin.
I will say that this movie did not make the top 5 of the 1987. Where do you think it ranked? Yeah, I will say it's in the top 50. I'll give you that.
25.
23.
20. John was closest.
Well done.
Top films of 1987 were Beverly Hills Cop 2, Platoon, Fatal Attraction, The Untouchables, 3 Men and a Baby. So 3 Oscar nominees and 1 Oscar Best Picture winner and some comedies. We have done 1 other film in 1987 so far.
No, I'm not playing this game. I'll try.
It was one of our favorites.
Was it Highlander?
No.
Prairie Dog.
No, we enjoyed lots of alcohol on the beach.
Oh, it was Monster Squad.
Monster Squad.
Monster Squad is so good.
Monster Squad came out.
Monster Squad was pretty good.
It came out. It ended up being 135 on the list. It made no money.
Because we talked about how it was better in the end instead of in the beginning.
Right. And just
overall.
Just no one saw it. So, final thoughts. What do you think about the film?
So you can tell that they had more money because I think that's part of the effects of it too. That had to have gone into the creativity side of it. Is like, well, we have a better budget, so how can we make this more appealing to our viewers at this time, but still incorporate the thing that we had in the first one. So you can tell that they had a better budget. I think that I like that Freddy's character seems more defined. Like in the first one, like we were saying, he really doesn't have very much stage time or screen time, I guess is what they call it. And this time it seems like he's more of a star. Like who he is came up more instead of the idea of who he was. So he's more present.
He got all the one-liners because the glove was on the set for Evil Dead.
This is one where he starts getting those one-liners. I mean, they start writing for him, and then
it's almost like he doesn't need a lot. Like he doesn't need to say much. Like he's really good for one-liners.
I see. That's
and
what
killing.
makes him different than the other slasher guys, because most of them are silent killers. You know, Jason doesn't talk. Michael Myers doesn't talk. Freddy talks. Pinhead says some things.
Right. Really dark, depressing things.
Most bad guys, if you really think about it, or at least from what I've seen, obviously it's not compared to you guys. So, do you feel or agree that most villains or bad guys just don't have very much dialogue?
They don't, because they tend want you to just think them as monsters. And I see Freddy, like, I don't know. I think
in this film, Freddy moves from monster to pop culture icon.
Right.
I mean, that's what he is. He becomes this.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's not that traditional, like, horror person, because like you said, they don't talk. Like they're just silent and there and kill you. But in this one, it's more like he's taunting and playing and he's having a good time, and like he becomes a puppet and then he frees himself and then he turns the kid into a puppet, because you think he's just going to be a puppet that, at least my interpretation of it is like, oh, he's just going to go like cut him up. Then he's like, no, you're a puppet. Like it just seems more fun. He has more fun with it.
So, and I know you're limited on this guy. I know you've seen some of them, so if you remember, but especially the ones you've seen, and I know you've seen them all, since we've got you here. What is your favorite either kill or dream out of this series? In the entire series? I'll let y'all think a minute.
I really like, I can't remember which one it is, but the motorcycle scene.
When the guy becomes a motorcycle?
Yeah.
That's in 5.
That's
probably the best thing in 5.
Right, I like that one, but really, honestly, the worm scene.
Oh yeah, it was the giant
where he turns into the worm in this one.
Yeah,
like that, because they definitely go big or go home.
Oh yeah,
effects in this one.
If you got the budget,
right? Mm-hmm. You could tell they had a good prop team, and they was like, let's see some crazy stuff that's not been seen.
And they made it with they did 3 different giant puppets to make that work. You know, one to swallow her, one to grab her,
right?
And then they had a smaller one for long shots. But it turned out really, really good.
I feel like the deaths in the first one were more ridiculous. Like you have the bed that exploded, the blood everywhere.
I don't know how they explain that. There's no real world explanation for that one.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the deaths in that one were more gruesome. You have what's her nuts that was drug up the wall. I like how they did those. I like that they had the revolving room. Mm-hmm. But again, I think the films that have the lower budget have the cooler ideas. They problem solve better, and I think it makes it more creative to know that they just rotated a room to make it look like she was drug around a wall. That's just fantastic to me. I think that's amazing. But the deaths themselves were just unrealistic.
Right.
I mean, even in this one, like with the TV thing, like she obviously didn't commit suicide, but I think all the way the deaths were done were much more interesting to watch in this film. So I'm just going to go by those two because I don't remember any of the others if I did watch them. So I do think that my favorite was probably the marionette, because I think that actor did it so well.
Oh, yeah, he looked great.
Yeah.
It was absolutely wonderful.
Especially when he was up on the top, where it was like you could tell that he didn't want to do it, and then like he really held his arms in the right way. So I think he did that really well.
So mine's in 4, and it's not a death, but it's a dream sequence. So toward the end of the movie, the last third, Alice dreams herself into a movie theater. And she gets sucked inside the movie itself.
I've seen that.
The black and white. And so she's at this diner where she runs into the old age version of her. You know, you find out Alice is like she works at a diner after school. That's what she does for extra money. And she sees the version of herself that's never got out of the diner and not got married and had kids or anything. And then Freddy shows up and like for a date, and then she serves them a giant pizza where the meatballs are the other victims from the movies.
That was really good too.
And it's such it's a ridiculous concept, but that effect is so good. And what they did, they built little meatball like puppet heads where they'd animate them. They looked just like the actors, and then they made a giant pizza where they stuck their heads through the. It's so gross. It's such a good effect, such a dunk. And then the other one is the one the lady turns into the cockroach and they squish. That's great. And so that's part of my favorite. Yeah, I'm icky against bugs, so I can't watch it. It's squishy.
I held 2 of the roaches that were here during Horror Gras. I don't know how I did that mentally, but I did.
Oh, thank you.
I just wanted to share that during Horror Gras we had the Explorium people here with hissing cockroaches. They were like 3 inches long.
Thank you for confirming that we don't have roaches here.
No, I'm so sorry. It was during Horror Gras. We had the Explorium brought in some of the stuff that they have over there, and they brought in their what is it?
Madagascar hissing cockroach.
Colony?
I guess
a colony. I really enjoyed. I only held it to start with because there was an albino one. It's not albino, but I like to call it that because it was a little bit different. But I learned that roaches shed their stuff and they're just white underneath. Like we're talking like white. It looked like an albino roach, and they're softer. So I held that one. I kept calling it albino, and she kept going, it's not albino. It is a regular roach. It's just not with skin right now. And I was like, can I just call it albino for right now? Because it makes me feel a little bit better. And then I held one of the other ones later.
I'm grossed out already.
It started to crawl up my arm, and she took it back. She took it back.
Spider, scorpions.
I don't mind spiders, roaches. I
think it's because they were so big, they don't look like the ones in my house.
Right.
So it was kind of like a pet.
Right on.
We really need film sometimes because I feel like my emotions are better expressed on my face.
We need to get you a dog.
I do not want a dog.
Big roach.
No, I don't want one.
No, it's just a dog. Dogs are great.
No. Poops everywhere. I got to pick it up.
I'll make you a giant roach farm.
No, I don't want it. I don't want it, John. I love you. I don't want it. I don't want it. Please.
Merry Christmas.
Oh my God.
It'll have a Harry Potter hat.
Maybe it'll be okay then.
I can do the lightning bolt.
Okay. As long as it has a lightning bolt, that's fine.
Done.
Well,
yay.
I think that's a bit enough for this movie.
So, are we announcing what we're watching next week, or do we have the meeting?
We will. I don't know what I have a couple things, but
just kidding, because we don't know yet.
There's a couple things on the list, but I don't know which order we're going to do it. So, we're coming into November, and that's for us. That's Movember. And so we'll be doing some charity stuff. So our next 2 films are going to be Roadhouse and
oh yeah, because it's from Movember.
Yeah, we're going to do Roadhouse, and then we're going to do Smoking the Bandit.
Smoking the Bandit.
Those are the 2, and we're going to have Uncle.
I have seen neither of those yet.
Uncle Henry's coming back for Smoking the Bandit, so that's going to be fun.
Yes. I like him.
So that's going to be
sit in.
Of course you can.
Debbie wife will be here. You can go cuddle her. She's
I will
cuddleable.
be singing horribly in the background.
Do it. Are there songs?
Oh God, yes.
Is it singing songs?
Wait. We didn't talk about the song.
There's a song? Oh,
Yeah,
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Is this the first time that they did the song?
Yeah, the first time.
I know trivia for this.
Okay.
Derby wife, and I did it while we were watching the movie. Okay, so the little girl jumping in the jump rope was the daughter of the people who own that house.
In the first one.
And is it in the first one?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They put her in it because they were like, fine, you can use my house, but my daughter's going to be jumping rope in the first.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who goes, yes, you can use my house for a horror film, but my kid better be in it, damn it, because she's adorable.
Totally.
And then who wrote it? One of the... Oh, God, we talked about this.
Yeah, we talked about last.
Somebody's boyfriend wrote it. They were playing around in the
Nancy's
background.
What? Heather Langenkamp's.
Did we talk about this last time?
Yes, in last
I
week's
thought
radio.
her and I talked about it.
No, it was last
Mother
week.
Trevor, you see how much I pay attention?
Yeah,
I
last
knew.
episode. Also, not talking about that song. I'm talking about
thought you were.
Dawkins' Dream Warriors.
Oh, I got really excited. Can we just take all that out because I find it ridiculous? I really thought that was an extra thing that me and her
This is the
learned.
first movie that first horror film put a horror heavy metal song to it.
That was us.
They filmed a video for it and everything, so Freddy's in this video for
Dream
Dawkins.
Warriors is so good.
And so,
Can we put that in our show notes?
yeah, we can put. What about the show notes? I have a friend, Dylan, who I went to college with, who sings metal very, very well. And he sang Dream Warriors for me, so I'm going to share that as well. So I just
Cool.
want, and so, yay! Shout out to Dylan.
I just want y'all to know that I'm learning. Like, that was really a takeaway from that. Is like, I thought we had learned it by ourselves, but I know it, and that's what's
Scotty.
important. That's what's important, guys.
That is what's important. This is Scotty saying this is our contribution to the multiverse. Go out and make yours.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.
Deuces.
Thank you for listening to the Mobcast Network.